Hello, you gorgeous folk. Today I'm going to talk about a man called Pavlov. You might know him, and his dogs. And I'm also going to talk about another guy called Edwin Twitmire and his knee-jerk response. I'll tell you all about it on the other side. So everybody knows about Pavlov's dogs. Everybody. But I'm going to talk about it anyway. So in the late 1800s, notice that date there, just at the last end of the 19th century, just before we moved into the 20th century. Very important. Lots of things happened. Anyway, this man called Pavlov, who was a psychologist, he was doing tests on how to condition responses in beings. Okay? And he used dogs. And what he did was, a minute. I'm waiting for a really important message, and it's just a message. Okay, so he was taking dogs, and he was introducing, and these are the scientific terms. He was introducing an unconditioned stimulus. That was food. She was giving the dogs food, and then he was getting what's called a response from that unconditioned stimulus. And the response was salivation. If you've ever had a dog, I remember I had one called Chato. He was a boxer. And just as I was putting the food down, he would start to salivate. And boxers, if you've ever had a boxer, they have the most slobber you could possibly imagine. And he used to have two lines that would go all the way down to the floor as he was standing watching. And that was just him, any food, didn't matter what it was, he would eat it. Not like the dogs I've got now, which are poodles, and they're very fussy. You put the food down, they go, okay, I'll take a look at that later. In that way, they're very much like cats. So anyway, that's what he did. He gave them food, and then he got the response, which was salivation. Oh, hang on a minute, sorry, just check. A minute. Some of the things they send you, it's incredible. So then what he did was he introduced what's called a neutral stimulus, and that was a bell. So it was food, salivation, bell. Yeah? Food, bell, more like that. Food, bell, salivation, because they're looking at the food. And then they paired the stimuli. These are the technical terms. Paired the stimuli so that the bell went off at the same time as the food. The food was there, bell rang, blam blam. And then what that did, it linked the bell, the food, and the response. So bell, food, salivation. Yeah. Until he got what was called the conditioned response, which was he could remove either the food and just leave the bell, ring the bell, and he would get salivation in the dogs. Or you could remove the bell and just have the food and you would get salivation. Both of them worked equally as well. This is called a conditioned response. Okay? And it's something that we see all around us in this bloody society in which we live. Hang on a minute. Yeah, it's okay. So we see all the time, and it's driving me mad. However, a year before Pavlov declared his findings, a man called Edwin Twitmire had already found the same thing. He was doing a study on knee-jerk response, because we've got knee-jerk, it's where you hit the knee, it goes boing, like that. Animals have it the same. So he was doing these tests, and he had these test subjects sitting in chairs, and there were these little hammers that would come down and go boing. Yeah. As it happened, the machine would ring a bell and the hammer would come down and boing, and the students, there were his psychology students who had offered themselves, their legs would be shooting up. And what they found was that everybody had a different degree of response. Not everybody was the same. Doesn't matter how hard you hit it, the knee went up at a certain level depending on the person. But once again, he was providing this stimulus which was the hammer, but also a bell at the same time. And then one day, I'm going to miss a sec, sorry. I know this is really rude, but just, no, that's just something stupid. Okay, so what happened was, one day the hammer didn't work. They were doing some adjustment and the bell went off. And the student that was sitting there, because they were doing both legs at the same time, both of his legs shot up. And they thought, what? But the hammer didn't fall. And sure enough, what they discovered was that they had linked the bell with the anticipation of the hammer hitting the knee. And so the knee jumped up without the hammer. And he went on to test it even more by getting the students to fight against it, clenching their fists, holding everything tight. And they couldn't. The ones who'd been conditioned could not stop their legs from shooting up when the bell rang. How about that? Even when they were consciously trying to stop it. Now that's called a conditioned response, right? And it's extremely pervasive all around us. It's intrinsic in who we are, okay? I'm sorry, I'll be back. I'm just hoping that this comes. Anyway, there you are. No, it's nothing. It's just a stupidity. Okay, so in hypnosis, when you look at speed hypnosis, okay, one of the things that you can do is to break a pattern. It's called pattern interrupt. And how you do that is, the classic one is reaching to shake somebody's hand. The shaking of the hand is one full pattern that has no breaks in it. It's hand out, shaking of the hand, normally 2 to 3 times, hand back. That is one full pattern. There are no breaks in it. So what happens is you can break that pattern. When you break somebody's pattern, you put them in hypnosis because they're stopped, because they're accustomed to finishing off that pattern. And when you stop them, they don't know what to do. I don't know if have you ever seen this, where somebody's going to put something in their mouth, right? Going to eat something, right? And somebody steals it from them. And what happens is they go like that. And they're just stuck. Yeah? But that's because this is a pattern. One full pattern. There's no break in it. We get something, we put it in our mouth, we eat it. Yeah? It's the same with a handshake. So what happens is in hypnosis, if you want to be tricky, you say, hello, nice to meet you. And then you grab the hand and you bring it up to the face and you say, look at your hand and notice that spot in the middle of your hand and relax. Okay? It's pattern break. You're just putting them into this, I've got no way to get out. And they need a little bit of time to get out. Okay? And what kind of stimulus do we have around us? Well, it can be things that we see, you know, and if we think about the way that we're manipulated as people, it can be the television, the news, you know, the way that things are presented, the way that something's presented with background music. If you look at films, when they want you to be sad, they will play sad music. Yeah. When they want you to be happy, they'll play happy music. When they want you to be scared, they'll play scary music. That's a stimulus that we are accustomed to. We know what that means, and automatically we create this conditioned response. Okay, sorry. This has got to be the last time. Yeah. Oh, no, it wasn't. It was just stupid. Oh, man. So, why am I telling you all of this? I'm telling you all of this because, of course, I'm not getting messages on my phone. But what I'm very, very aware of is that this is creating conditioned responses. I tell you what I do. I don't have the sound on. And all of my apps, I've taken away the permissions for them to beep me. I do not want this phone to beep me. Why? Because I watch what happens. And I watch around me Pavlov's dogs. And what happens is this. You're talking to somebody and they're going, yeah, absolutely. And the phone goes beep, 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 beep. And they go like that. And the talking and the hand goes out, yeah, and the check. Now, I know there's lots of scientific studies saying that it's a dopamine hit as well. I mean, that makes it even worse when you've got a stimulus and you've also got this positive benefit, which is this dopamine hit of, oh my God, somebody's liked a post I've written. And it works the other way. You could get an adrenaline hit because somebody's disliked a post or whatever. So it happens all the time. But I see people absolutely addicted, and it's not addiction per se. It's a conditioned response. The bell rings and you jump. The bell rings and you dance. The bell rings and you salivate. Yeah. So what things can you do? But it's all around us. Be aware, there's nothing that you can do to not be conditioned. Right? We're conditioned with everything. However, there are some things that are taking up an awful lot of our time, and not only that, distracting us from life. And this is one of them that I'm aware of. So what you can do is you can take off the permission, so there's not, you turn off the noise so the phone won't beep. I will not allow it to beep. If anything comes on and it beeps, I've got to find it and take it off. Just because I don't want to have a knee-jerk response. I don't want to salivate. I want to go to the phone when I want to go to the phone. I want that to be my slave and for me to be the master. I don't want that to be my master and me to be the slave. Does that make sense? So I wonder what other things condition us. And it's called an anchor in NLP terms. You anchor things, we anchor, just have to listen to a bit of music that you like and notice what happens. You will feel good. Listen to a bit of music that makes you want to dance and you'll want to dance. You think, well, whoa, I want to dance. Why? You didn't want to dance 2 minutes ago when the music wasn't on. And it's because it anchors a response. The phone anchors a response. Okay? The doorbell ringing at 11 o'clock at night anchors a response in you. Who's that? Who could that be? Yeah. So everything anchors a response, but we've got to do our job to pass our way through so much of it and cut out the stuff that we don't need. Oh, they're calling me again. Who is it? Nobody. Nobody calls me. So, beautiful people, there you are. That's the story of Pavlov and Twitmire and the conditioned response. I love you all. Bye-bye.